3 days into my training, the manager would pull me into a private office, face pale, holding a printout of a background check I knew was a lie. "We don't hire felons," they'd say, ignoring my tears and my clean record. For 5 years, I was a ghost in my own life, homeless, starving, and blacklisted from every industry in the city. My parents would hug me, offer me a bed in their basement, and whisper, "It's okay, honey. No one else will ever want you, but we're here." I thought they were my safety net. I didn't realize they were the ones cutting the ropes. It took my estranged grandmother's private investigator, a man who appeared at my bus stop like a shadow, to show me the criminal record being faxed to my employers was coming from my father's home office. My name is Elena Vance, and this is how I dismantled the people who tried to bury me alive. The glass doors of Miller and Associates felt like the entrance to my new life. I had spent 6 years in architecture school, survived on ramen, and pulled countless all-nights to earn this junior designer position. But on Thursday afternoon, just 3 days into the job, the air in the office shifted. My supervisor, a woman who had praised my portfolio only 48 hours ago, wouldn't look me in the eye. "Elena, my office." "Now," she said, her voice like a shutter closing. I walked in, my heart hammering against my ribs. On her desk lay a single sheet of paper. I recognized the layout. It was a third-party background check. Across the middle, in bold, clinical font, were the words, "Aggravated assault and grand larceny." I don't understand. I stammered, the world tilting. "I've never even been to a courthouse. This has to be a mistake." "We don't hire people with violent felonies, Elena," she said, her disgust palpable. "The fact that you tried to hide this during the interview is a character flaw we can't overlook. Pack your things. Security will see you to the curb." I was escorted out like a common thief, my drafting pens rattling in a cardboard box. This was the 4th time in 2 years. Each time, the story was the same. A promising start, a sudden background check, and a cold dismissal. I stood on the sidewalk, shivering despite the heat, feeling like a ghost in my own skin. I wasn't a criminal, but the world was convinced I was. And every time I fell, there were only 2 people waiting to catch me. My parents. I headed toward the only place that would still take me, the basement of the house I was never allowed to leave. The air in my parents' basement was thick with the scent of lavender laundry detergent and damp concrete. It was a comfortable cage, but a cage nonetheless. "Oh, my poor girl," my mother whispered as she tucked a stray hair behind my ear that evening. "The world is so cruel and judgmental. They don't see the light in you that we do." My father nodded solemnly from the doorway, his silhouette blocking the only light from the hallway. "Stay here, Elena. Don't go back out there just to get hurt again. We'll take care of your phone, your food, everything." I flipped through the pages, seeing a log of every email and fax sent to my previous employers. Each one was timed perfectly, sent exactly 48 hours after I was hired. They weren't just stopping me from working. They were systematically blacklisting me, ensuring that no one in the professional world would ever touch me. They weren't my safety net. They were the ones building my gallows. I stared at the faxes, my vision blurring. But why? I choked out. They're my parents. Why would they want me to be a failure? Why would they want me stuck in that basement? Marcus leaned in, his expression softening. "Because you aren't just their daughter, Elena. To them, you're a paycheck." He pulled a copy of my grandmother's will from the bottom of the stack. "Your grandmother, Sylvia Vance, didn't trust your father. She saw how he handled money, the gambling, the bad investments. When she passed, she left her entire estate, roughly $2.5 million, in a trust for you." I gasped. I knew Grandma was comfortable, but millions? "There's a catch," Marcus continued, tapping a specific paragraph in the will. "It's called a vagrancy and competency clause. Sylvia wanted to ensure the money went to a productive member of society. According to the terms, if you are incarcerated, have a standing felony record, or are deemed unable to maintain stable employment or housing, the management of the trust falls to your legal guardians until you are 45. That's 20 more years of them living off your interest." The pieces clicked together with a sickening metallic snap. By ensuring I could never hold a job, they kept me unfit. By forging a criminal record, they ensured I was unstable. They weren't protecting me from a cruel world. They were creating a cruel world to keep me a prisoner, all so they could drain the fortune my grandmother had intended for my freedom. Walking back into that house felt like stepping into a lion's den, but I kept my face a mask of defeat. I let my shoulders slump and my eyes stay red as I sat at the dinner table. My mother had prepared a roast, and the domestic bliss felt nauseating. "The library was quiet, honey," she said, her voice dripping with that familiar, synthetic honey. "But you look exhausted. Maybe it's time to stop looking for those jobs. They only bring you heartache." "I think you're right, Mom," I whispered, resting my hands on the table. Beneath the tablecloth, my phone was active, its voice recorder capturing every vibration. The world just feels so heavy. My father let out a long, theatrical sigh. "It's the record, Elena. Once you're in the system, they never let you out. It's a good thing we have the means to keep you safe here." Later that night, I pressed my ear to the floorboards. I heard the clinking of wine glasses and my father's muffled chuckle. The lawyer called again. He whispered to my mother. He's asking for another update on her stability. I told him she's getting worse, delusional even. Another month of this, and he'll sign over the full management rights. We can finally get that vacation home in Florida. "She's so easy to break," my mother replied, her voice devoid of any warmth. "She actually thinks we're her only hope." I clutched the recording device to my chest, my blood turning to ice. The trap was set. They thought I was a victim, but